there was an idea. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more.
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
This is the Marvel Tribe, brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Are we live?
We are recording, yes. Sir.
I thought you said hold on. I'm like, hold on. Anyway, let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Marvel Tribe. We are a group of excited and passionate individuals who come together to share our love for all things Marvel. We are brought to you by Walt's Apartment Podcast and the DisInsider.com. I am so honored to be joined by this amazing group of Marvel nerds. From the big screen to the small print, feel the pulse in your chest so you know you're alive. One team, one love. It's the Marvel Tribe.
Marvel Tribe.
Marvel Tribe. Welcome, welcome. Man, we got She-Hulk episode 1 to talk about, and we got some things to talk about here and stuff. So
we first need to talk about David's on-site recording location.
Oh yeah, I'm at Bruce's bar in Mexico, just chilling. I got the, obviously her and her cousin repaired the bar, and it's closed because they drink all the alcohol, so there's nothing behind me. So I'm chilling here in Mexico, doing my thing.
Our tickets must have got lost in the mail.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We didn't even get invites.
Well, I'm the Blurred Hulk. Now I changed my name to Smart Hulk.
Smug Hulk.
Smug. I hate that.
So
you're smug because you know how smart you are.
I mean, I've probably been called smug quite a few times, so I'm fine with it. It's whatever. First impressions, Brianna, episode 1, She-Hulk. What'd you think?
I don't understand the negative reviews that I saw before this came out. I had a lot of fun with it. It was definitely a good intro to what we're going to see, a good intro to the character, and overall, I liked it, and I'm ready for the rest of the season.
L-Dog, what'd you think?
I was curious what name was coming. Overall, I enjoyed it. I hope that this kind of rushed episode is that, like, let's get this out of the way. There's so much to show. I hope that's what's coming. But overall, I had a lot of fun with the show itself. Really excited to see where it goes. And I'm really excited to see how the fourth wall being broken in this episode.
I loved it.
I enjoyed it too. I just hope it's consistent throughout the show. It's not strong the first 2 episodes and then it's forgotten the rest of the season. I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially the scene where she says, oh, he doesn't think that. And he looks back and they both at the same time. I found myself really laughing at a lot of parts, but also really just enjoying the first episode because we got a lot of trailer in this episode. So it's like, okay, what else is going to happen? Because we got most of the trailer in this first episode.
Definitely. Smart Hulk, David?
Yeah, I liked it. The only piece and it's not a criticism that I didn't like. The origin story was really quick, super quick. Like it was like, oh, boom, there it is, which is fine because you read the comics. There's some build up. There's no death and gangsters and life support, and this was a very boom. Here comes the Sakaar ship crash. Help save her cousin, and then the blood dripping with the gamma radiation and stuff. So that's the only thing, and it's only because I want more content. I love this premise. I loved how this is being set up. I think it's going to be a comedy legal show. I said this before, in the vein of Ally McBeal and
that's exactly. Yeah, I said Ally McBeal too.
Yeah. So I'm here for it. The thing about the breaking the fourth wall, I love it. In fact, this is and a lot of people don't realize this. There's a lot of I'm about to hurt some feelings out there, but a lot of you guys think Deadpool was the first person to break the proverbial fourth wall. He was not. It was actually She-Hulk in 1989. Dead Hulk didn't break the fourth wall for a whole 10 years later.
Deadpool, bud.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm down with Dead Hulk though. Let's go.
You just said Dead Hulk.
I didn't say Dead Hulk. I said Dead
Yeah,
Hulk.
you did.
You definitely said
Did I
Dead
say
Hulk.
You
Dead
said
Hulk?
Dead Hulk.
Oh my God! I really, Deadpool. So
Yeah.
So
So-
she's the OG, and yeah, I'm here for it.
I have been wanting to see more of that fourth wall breaking down during an MCU show, because if I recall correctly, the last time that we got it on a Disney Plus show was when Wanda was like doing like the office style interviews.
Yeah.
This was so much better because it was absolutely hysterical, and it didn't require me to go down this like ridiculous spiral of like, what does it mean? You're just talking to the audience. You're talking to me, making me an active participant in the show. I thought that was great. I completely agree with like the Ally McBeal vibes, and the origin story for me. I actually think I like that they rushed it a little bit, because it's showing that the focus of this is not going to be on that. And we're going to get brand new content that is something completely different than what we're expecting. Because this is not the origin story we thought we were getting at all. Like, could not have predicted this origin story. It happened quick.
Mhm.
It did set up a lot for what's to come in the MCU. It gave us some big clues for some big things that are coming. Actually, different avenues, different possibilities that will all probably lead to World War Hulk at some point.
Oh God, I hope so.
I don't think that they can avoid it at this point. With that ship showing up, I was like, it is the Grandmaster or it's his son. Like, that's it. And either of those is going to lead to a chaotic World War Hulk. So I'm game. Just super excited. I thought it was a great episode. It was funny. I love funny.
So you want to do our little breakdown, like so how
Scene by scene?
Yeah, absolutely. So we start out with Jennifer giving her closing deposition there in front of her we call it paralegal, and then a colleague, the guy who likes to mansplain her profession to her. And she was doing her closing remarks and stuff, and he was constantly just kind of nitpicking here and there.
Let me help you.
Yeah, and in fact, maybe it should be me who should do the closing and probably come across better. Meanwhile,
I can do it better.
Yeah, her paralegal, who's just a rock star, paralegal / best friend, just shoot his ass out of the office and stuff. It's like, all right, gave her the encouragement she needed and stuff, and like, hey, you're a rock star. Let's close this. Boom, case one. You got this.
She's like, out of here with your male chauvinism.
Yeah. So as she was leaving, we get our first fourth wall break where she turns to the camera, because the paralegal said, well, you can always just, Hulk, show him the Hulk and stuff. And she turns to the camera and she's like, she let us in on the little secret that she is a Hulk. And before, she's right. Before she goes into this lawyering stuff, we're going to want to know the story behind this. That's the whole point of us watching She-Hulk. So she was right, and she said that. And then, boom, we cut over to her and her cousin Bruce taking a trip, talking about what Bruce has been up to. And Bruce, who likes to talk, basically, I'm assuming, told her everything from Iron Man 3 on up to Avengers Endgame, what had happened. Because it was the longest conversation of, hey, what you been up to there, cousin? And then, out of the blue, we get descending from the almighty sky a Sakaar courier ship, scaring the crap out of everybody and causing them to wreck and flip over the median down the side of a hill, which normally would spell doom for any mortal, but the banners are special. She managed to get unbuckled and climb out, and then Bruce is knocked out, like he kind of sometimes is. She drags him to safety and managed to get some of a highly nuclear toxic gamma blood on him, into her cuts and her wounds, which should have killed her. And for those who don't know the backstory to that, if you watch the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton. There's actually a scene that the late Stan Lee actually portrayed to show how toxic Bruce Banner's blood is when he was working in the factory in Brazil making those drinks, and some of his blood got into that drink. Stan Lee opens the fridge, pulls out one of the tainted drinks and drinks it and dies. It's highly toxic. You cannot be around Banner when he's bleeding and stuff. Well, with her, because she's related and they share some very closely similar genes in that family, it's almost like your great grandma has gray eyes, and then you has gray eyes. You have that connecting thing. They're able to absorb and deal with the gamma, which turned her into the She-Hulk.
So can we talk about the car accident scene for a second?
Let's talk about
it. Let's talk about the ship. It's the car and ship.
Yes.
For anybody who may not remember, I know you guys do, but anybody who's listening that may not remember, at one point during Thor Ragnarok, Hulk was being used as a gladiator on Sakaar and was rescued by Thor. And so the Grandmaster was not very happy about that. So it could have been like somebody doing the Grandmaster's bidding, coming to talk to him. There's other fan theories that it is the Hulk's son, Scar.
Could be.
So we don't know exactly what's up with the ship, but did Hulk seem very concerned about that ship to you?
No.
In the Scooby-Doo-ish way. I got to solve this mystery, kind of. Go ahead, Lewis.
But you know what, though? Speaking of his son, though, and for those that have been listening, we mentioned that like 2 shows back.
Yes.
That we were assuming that it was either going to happen during the show or they were going to drop some D23 news. So, but he did seem like it, but it almost seemed like a Kevin Feige type of way of, let's drop this, let's leave it there, continue with She-Hulk, we'll pick that up on another day.
Exactly.
Kind of like with the agent on Civil War when he mentions Eric Strange and all that stuff. And sorry, Stephen Strange, not Eric Strange.
Steve.
But we're just messing names up all day today. And they just left it at that. You're like, wait a minute, is that? And then sure enough, Doctor Strange was later announced. So I like the way they did it. I wish, if it is his son, I wish it would have showed a little bit more change of character for him. But I like that they let us have it, and here you go, because I honestly think that this is all we're going to see of the Hulk in this series. I don't think we're going to see any more. Maybe some cameos throughout the season, but nothing like we got this show.
I think you guys answered my question, because that was the question I had for everybody, if we were going to get a resolution on that ship in this show.
I think there's very little. It's going to be very little Bruce Hulk centered, and absolutely Jennifer Walters She-Hulk centered, and her journey. We probably won't see him as much in any of the other episodes as we did it in this one.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see him again. I think the rest of the episode is going to be about her.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's how it should be. I mean, in fact, this is how they could have had Doctor Strange kind of drop into WandaVision and not overshadow that this is Wanda's show. So, but I gotta say, so a couple things some things that got explained that we all kind of had some questions about, like the Smart Hulk. We all seen it, at the
Smug
end,
Hulk.
at the end of Endgames and stuff, and then at the end scene in Shang-Chi, he's back to being Bruce Banner. Well, during that 5-year gap and stuff, he's been working on tech to keep him as Bruce Banner, and while he heals, because he says he heals better, than him being transformed into the Hulk and stuff. And so that snap, that glove, those Power Stones did a real number on Hulk, and so much so that he had to transform into human and heal in a very slow manner and stuff that he's been doing. So that explains why we saw a human one version of him in Shang-Chi at the end. So I'm glad they answered that. There was a really big question there.
Yeah, they're tying a lot together for us. So once we see her kind of Hulk out for the first time, she runs, he's gone there, and she happens to wake up and stumbles across a bar.
Yes.
She stumbles across the bar and she makes her way in. And then Brianna and I were trying to explain this to the boys before this. She got to see, or she experienced, what all drunk girls feel in bars' bathrooms. Like, drunk girls in bar bathrooms are the happiest, kindest people to each other. And it's like, you've never met a stranger. Everybody's best friends. You want to borrow my lipstick? Like, do you need me to hold the stall for you? Like, we're best friends. Let's change phone numbers. Let's take selfies. That's what drunk girls are like in bar bathrooms. And I made the comment to David before we started that the world would be a much nicer place if all girls treated each other like drunk girls in bar bathrooms treat each other. So that scene and what we experienced with her, everybody, like all the women coming in and like, fixing her makeup, cleaning her up, changing up her clothes to make her, more presentable to walk out into the bar. That's really what happens in bar bathrooms.
Who would have thought? Not this guy. I actually, so I liked it. That bar scene was interesting because I really did think, and this is just my lack of experience, but my line of logic was, she's in the bathroom, she looks beat up to hell, and they were going to, and they did start out like, hey, what did he do to you, or they did to you, or whatever, you'll need to take that. And I thought they were going to continue with that, but I was reminded they're drunk and they're happy and they're there for her and to glam her up and to make her feel better. So the best way you do that is to wash her out down, give her some new shoes, put some makeup on her and everything else, versus I'm here to rescue you. Maybe there's something bad. Let's call the cops or anything like that. You don't get that. You got bubbly drunk girls who are united front. So
yeah, and they gave her what she needed. She asked for a phone to be able to call her family, her cousin, and so
everyone without a phone.
And then, as she was outside waiting for her ride,
this is the part that I've actually, and not to my shame, I'm in my 40s, so this was like over 20 years ago. I've actually participated in this scene. Was where they're, these guys, and there were probably there's three drunk guys and stuff that was checking this girl out. You probably haven't seen her before. It's like, okay, they're competing with each other to hit on this girl. And from a guy perspective, you never put yourself in the mind of the other person of how intimidating that is for somebody, how annoying that can be and stuff. And how, it's like, it's just me. And there's a whole gang of you out here just all trying to hit on me, trying to get my attention and stuff. And I'm really not in the mood to be bothered. I just got an accident. I'm waiting for him. Even the line where there's my boyfriend and stuff, just to kind of get away from that and stuff. And I was like, I owe some interactions, some apologies and stuff, because it really wasn't. We weren't in the mindset of thinking like, oh yeah, this woman may not want a whole gang of guys taking turns trying to hit on her to see which one she chooses and stuff. Maybe she just want to be left the hell alone.
Yeah. So we had a pretty good conversation beforehand too about women having to be prepared for situations that men necessarily don't have to. So we talked about, walking with our keys between our fingers. And David was saying, he's had conversations like this and with his kids, and before he could even get it out, like he was like walking, and I was like, with keys between your fingers and he's like, yeah, as a weapon. Like that is just where things go. So for her to attack in that moment,
yeah,
no shame, sis. Like,
made sense. You hulked out at the right moment.
You felt threatened. You did what you had to do. No shame. Does end up with Bruce after that. She gets kind of knocked down a little bit. Oh yeah, she gets tackled and ends up waking up in Bruce's hideaway lab that Tony built for him.
Yeah, this is the bro hideaway in Mexico. I don't think Pepper Pasta doesn't even know this exists. This was him.
Speaking of that spot too, you could see it in Bruce's face when he said Tony made it for him. Yeah. And then this is where I hung out during the blip. And then you could see that Tony still being gone is really wrecked a lot of the OG Avengers. And I really like that they showed that. Like, he's still just trying to now be one with himself, be one with the earth, stuff like that.
Yep.
But you could see it in his face. Like, nah, this still sucks.
Yeah, he is pained. Yep. And I think even more so than, Steve Rogers, even though like Bruce Banner was the in-between between the two of them and stuff, of that, he was like the bridge of that friendship. But you can tell he really misses Tony. Tony, that was his. I mean, they were on almost equal levels and stuff on the
Them
science.
having their little initials carved into the bar, so cute.
Well, now, and also
That
too,
part?
I mean, Bruce is the only one left. I mean, Black Widow's gone. Hawkeye is deaf or going deaf, and he's a dad raising his kids in regular life. Steve Rogers is
Somewhat
gone,
maybe dead.
maybe gone. Yeah, Tony's gone. So I mean, his entire crew is gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just really shows, and I like that even as a angry character like we know him as, he's got a soft spot.
And he was so damn lonely. He did not want her to leave because, oh, you're a superhero. You're a superhero. He needed her to be a superhero, even though in her mind, she wasn't a superhero. She had, this genetic factor that changed her. And like, that didn't mean she had to be a superhero. She could still live her regular life. She didn't want to be a superhero. And he was kind of like pushing that on her because he needs more superheroes around him. He needs people who understand what he's going through. He doesn't have that right now. And I think that's, in a selfish way, why he didn't want her to leave, because he finally had someone who he thought would understand. But they, as she tells them, we are completely different people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me vibes of, how there's that stigma that pit bulls are like the worst breeds of dogs because they're the most vicious. And Hulk saw himself as that pit bull, and he doesn't want that, for his cousin. So he's like, I created this book on, this transformation on how I had to control and find this balance, because all he saw was the surface of her hulking out. So he's like, yeah, you're a pit bull like me. I have to save you. You have to be a hero. You can't be a villain with this. You are extremely strong and capable. And so we have to use your power for good. And so he felt that it was his mission to absolutely keep her there and teach her the way, kind of like a Jedi.
Yeah, I think there was
but
a lot of mix.
Go ahead, Brianna.
I was going to say, I feel like there was a lot of mix of both. Like, there was a guilt of he did this, like, this was because of his blood and what happened. And then, the loneliness kicks in too. And he's like, I may have done this and I have this guilt, but like, also there's someone like me now. Like,
yeah. And he had like, she showed him time and time again, like, I can control this. Like, it's a piece of cake, whatever, like snap of her fingers could change back. And he just wouldn't believe her. And I think that was part of his own, like, not wanting it to be so easy for her. So she would need him.
He would keep making up another thing.
Yeah, he needed to be needed because he feels lonely.
Yes.
So, but she went through his therapies and his dialectal.
He has her locked in
yogi stuff.
Yeah, the chamber thing with the blades and stuff. Like, I mean, the alternative was not a like, hey, this isn't a test situation. You're gonna kill me, like full on. Like he was like, yep, that's kind of how this works. I have to kind of, and he, and he knows you can't kill the Hulk, but she doesn't know that, so she's freaking out, and then boom, she changes and stops the blades, and then busts off the $1 million chamber door and stuff, and throws it and impels it into the rock wall and stuff. So you get a little taste of her strength and her power, and like she's on par with Hulk a little bit. Well, at least this version of Hulk. So
I don't know. I slightly think she showed him up just a bit.
So okay, yes, they addressed that a little bit. But yeah, with the rock thing, right? So they're doing the montage, the training piece. He's just kind of baby-stepping her, like, he's like, hey, pick up the rock, throw it, so she picks it up and throws it further. He displays what any of us guys who don't like getting beat by a woman displays and stuff.
Toxic masculinity.
Yeah. So he picks up the rock and throws it into outer space. So he's like, yes, I am still the strongest Hulk and stuff, but yeah, she's showing him up. Like she is like quickly adapting faster than he could ever have and stuff. And so,
and that was kind of frustrating for him. He's like ripping pages out of the binder, like, well, I guess we can skip all this.
Skip the first 10 years of the 15-year plan.
I love that part. I did. Yes.
And she does seem to have more control than he does.
She does. The fact she can help out.
Yeah, and we talked about it beforehand, but we didn't talk about it now. That scene when, she gets out of the chamber and he realizes she is still Jen, and says, he's saying to her, like, there's not someone else in there with you. It's just you. You're not fighting with another guy. And she's like, no, I'm me. That to him was pretty frustrating too, because he's like, the hell, like, I have an alter ego.
That was one of the hilarious scenes because he was kind of treating her like a horse, a wild horse. Like, whoa, Nelly, calm. Like, whoa. It's like, why are you talking to me like this? Like, what? It's like, that's you, Jen? Like, yes, this is me. There's not another person trying to steer or drive or like, no. So, yeah, Hulk was coming to realization, I think, two things. One, his cousin is a freaking amazing at adapting to becoming Hulk, and two, he has some real issues that he needed that 15 years to deal with and stuff. So,
and that's what I saw. That's what my question was. So, I don't think she's stronger than him. I don't think that, but I do think she's smarter than him. So he has like a book smart. She even though it's ironic, he has like a book smarts for science. She has like a street smarts.
She has emotional intelligence as well.
And I'm curious that maybe she didn't have to battle that alter ego, because when she transformed to the Hulk, like, it was hard, but she already knew that was a possibility in her family. So as we're Bruce Banner, I mean, there's a few different variants of how he got the gamma and stuff like that. But like, this is new to him. Like, there was no one to help him through that. So I wonder for her if it was easier to understand it because you already know it's in your family.
Yeah, so like she already knew what the triggers were.
Mm-hmm.
She already knew what the triggers were. He had to figure that out. He was just hulking out all over the place in the beginning. She already knew that, anger, fear would be triggers. And he told her that. And she makes a mention of saying, listen, I deal with my anger all the time. I deal with men who want to tell me what to do or mansplain things. I deal with, being catcalled at. I deal with these things regularly. I have learned how to control my response to those situations. And I mean, honestly, that was a pretty freaking solid point. And that's why I kind of leaned into the emotional intelligence aspect, because if we think about the way that up until recently, and I hope it's not still the case, but boys are raised to not have feelings.
Yep.
So you can think that Bruce was raised that way. Bruce was raised to not be emotionally intelligent. He, had to keep it inside. And when you keep things inside, what happens?
Yeah, they explode.
Explodes.
Yes.
And it's a different situation for a woman because we're allowed to, have a sensitive side. And as I said, I hope that's not the case anymore, and that people are raising their boys to be emotional and sensitive, and it's fine and it's great. But I think that kind of made a difference in their transformations as well.
And he also had the love of his life ripped away from him after he became the Hulk. Like, it was all good and dandy, and then it's like, no, not anymore. So, I mean, dealing with that also causes him to be frustrated.
Yeah, well, she's also a single bad bitch right now, so.
So it answered a lot for me. Stuff that I knew from the comics and stuff, but I knew fans always ask questions about about where the Hulk is and why we got this version of him and this and that. And because Banner was bad. I mean, the angry monster that we all know, the one that fought Abomination and stuff, that was full, unfiltered, like uncontrollable rage and stuff. And for anyone, you as a human being, know you cannot live in that space for the rest of your life. You can't. We can't have that. That Hulk cannot exist forever because you can't exist. You can't just be a rage monster every single day. You have to find that balance. That's a healthy place. the Smart Hulk is the healthier version of the Hulk. Now, with that said, I'm 100% for Rage Hulk to come back because I think we're going to get him. But right now, I understand why we have the Smart Hulk, the more in tune with himself, more calm version. Still,
the Yogi.
Yes, the Yogi Hulk and stuff. So they're on the island and stuff, and he's running her through the gambit, and they're talking about Steve Rogers because she has a secret crush on Steve and really obsessed about Captain America and his life journey, and really trying to answer the question that is he still a virgin or not, and running through the timeline and like, you know, we have him being changed into Captain America, going to war, battling, saving, you know, America and the planet and stuff, getting froze, being thawed out to go into one chaotic moment after another, running from the law. I mean, he has no time to, you know, and so she's going through this with Banner, trying to get him to dish the tea, spill the tea on him.
Ain't happening in that moment.
Not in that moment, no.
So then we do get, you know, the scenes there also about, you know, him missing Tony and, you know, how him and Tony built the bar. And eventually she just decides she's ready to leave.
Yes.
She's done. She's ready to leave. She wants to go back to her life and help people the way that she paid to learn how to help people. Talks about those student loans. Yeah.
Student loans.
Student loans, and, you know, how she's always wanted to help people as a lawyer. So they get into this epic battle where they're just hulking out on each other, and it is like a brother and sister fighting.
Yes.
I love how they are so nonchalant with each other. Be like, that's a dick move. Like, loved it. I love when she flipped him the bird and like.
Oh, when he tried to push her off the cliff to kill her.
Yeah, and she just flipped. She just flipped him the bird, and it was like, and you know, he's like, that's a dick move, and their whole fighting back and forth in the tree and the coconuts flying at him. It's a really funny scene. And it just goes to show that, you know, they do have powers that are pretty parallel to each other at this point right now where they are. Yeah. And they kind of had to fight it out a little bit in order for him to meet her where she was at. Mm-hmm. And she was able to show her control. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, helped him, but again, he didn't want her to go. He's like, door's always open. And she's like, yeah, see you at the next family dinner. Peace. Like, I'm out of here.
Yep. And, you know, they broke Bruce's bar, which is behind me here. And so they had to fix it. Yeah, they had to restore it. It was a kind of a bonding moment and stuff. And we also get the other, you know, breaking the fourth wall thing when he was like, if you really want to go, I'm happy for you, and I really want you to go. And this is family. She knows he's full of shit, and she called him out on it and looked us dead in the eyes when she did it and stuff too. And then Hulk's like, "Huh? Wait, what? What the hell are you looking at?" So I loved it. It was that scene was really, really, really good and stuff. And then she comes back. Yeah, so she hops in her Jeep. I don't think we're going to see Hulk no more. He served his purpose here. She hops in her Jeep to go back to her law firm. And next thing we know, we fast forward. She is in the courtroom at this point?
Yep.
I think she comes back, tells us, you know, that's a story that happened.
Oh, yeah.
And And she walks
She breaks down the wall, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And then she's so they're doing closing arguments. So, she's a prosecutor, and there's a defense attorney who's given his closing deposition about who I think is a guy from Roxxon Corporation and stuff. And it had something to do with, I'm spitballing. I heard someone else say something to do with Arctic vibranium and hurting people. But I definitely think that's an exec from Roxxon, which we saw in Loki and Iron Man and a few other places. We see, Roxxon in a lot of different things. They're like the Walmart in the Marvel universe here. And then next thing we know, she's about to give her closing deposition, and then the wall shatters, and we get Titania, who which shocked a lot of people because they don't know who she is. She's just some random. For a lot of people, she's just a random person. They it just didn't make sense. But she comes crashing through the walls, and her and Jennifer's paralegal tells her like, "Hey, get out there, do your thing.
You got a civic duty."
But I love how she looks out for her. She was like, those expensive, shoes you got. Go and take those off, though. Yeah, go take those off.
Like, man, I like this outfit.
So she turned into She-Hulk, and Titania's like, who the hell are you? And she throws a desk at the jury to try to, whatever, She-Hulk, catches it, knocks her completely out. Like, boom, one punch, KO'd, Solo, done. Enough so that the guards can handcuff Titania and do whatever they're going to do.
So, what did you say about Roxanne? Like, I only caught the split end. What were you saying about Roxanne?
Like, I think that's one of the executives from Roxanne and stuff.
Okay, because Roxanne Oil hires Titania because they want to stop Project Pegasus.
Okay.
You mentioned that, and I quickly grabbed my Marvel Encyclopedia and threw it open to Titania's page. I was like, "There's something about Roxanne in there. I know it." So it says she was hired by Roxanne Oil Company to sabotage the government's Project Pegasus, but was defeated and sent to prison. And then she got enhanced by the power broker, and this Titania leads to Secret Wars. She leads to Battle World. So a lot of things that we know are probably coming all have Titania connections. Power broker. But I thought that was really funny when you said that. But she does have kind of like this battle thing that goes on with She-Hulk. So it was pretty interesting to see her introduced, but I don't know that they clearly introduced her. So I'm assuming there's more to come.
I hope so. I hope they do actually clarify who she is, her character, and her motivations, and why she did what she did and stuff. So, but which I think we will. There's a few creators who saw all 4 episodes and stuff of it. Come on, Disney. we're fans here. Give us that Give us that code. Give us the code. But
a little sneak peek.
I get it. If Disney gave me the code, I probably would blab about all 4 episodes on this one episode. So they're probably doing you all a favor by not doing that. But yeah, I think there's gonna be more. I'm excited. It's actually for me. I measure the bar in the first episode if it really gets me excited for what's coming next, and this one does. I really want to know what's next, and so by that. It got a lot of mixed reviews. We are starting to get that toxic buildup fandom that
Star Wars has.
Star Wars had to fight, and they're still fighting and stuff because you got people who just likes to watch the world burn, and you got other people who are solid. This is the way the story canon has to be, and I know better than Lucasfilm, and I know better than Marvel. I mean, no, this is their characters. Marvel's given us the show, the curtains. They're the producers. They're the content writers. They're the creators. They can do whatever they want with their characters and stuff without our input. We can say, do we like the performance? That's valid and stuff. But for you to say, that's dumb. That's not how that character is supposed to be, or that's not how it's their character.
And honestly, they have not disappointed me yet. So I'm all right. I know things are not always going to be comic book accurate, and I'm okay with that. Do I get super excited when they are comic book accurate? Yeah, because it makes me geek out super hard. But I also appreciate the new storytelling.
Well, I don't know about the Loki and Loki romance, though. That was ridiculous.
As Brianna holds up her phone, and the phone case is Sylvie and Loki staring into each other's eyes.
That's some self-love right there for you. So that's all I'll say to that.
My goodness.
But,
okay, so what do we think? Oh wait, there was an ending credit scene.
There was.
Yes.
Which is wow, that was so. This is where Bruce she broke Bruce down. He spilled some tea on Steve Rogers and said yes during the USO show before they're actually putting them in battle, and he had to go around and sell U.S. bonds and dance with these showgirls and kind of be Captain America, the showpiece. he hooked up with someone in 1943, and so
Okay, but if it's not Peggy,
it was not. It was a showgirl.
it was a showgirl.
Yeah, in fact, the story that Bruce tells in that time frame actually shows when that showgirl in Captain America, the First Soldier, shows a USO showgirl coming up to him all smitten, and then they have that cut scene and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's her.
Oh my goodness.
They did the deed.
But that just makes me feel yuck, except for, I mean, like, I totally can't blame the showgirl.
Say yuck. What? That's Captain America's ass.
No, because he obviously, like, well, okay, like, obviously he kissed the girl in that one scene. He kissed her back. But still, like,
but did
you
he
wanted
go back?
to see...
Is he supposed to be a priest?
Peggy.
Like a vow of celibacy? Like,
Speaking of, I saw a nun driving today. I didn't know nuns could drive.
I think they can drive and talk on cell phones.
I don't know. But off topic. No, because he's supposed to be pure and demure and like have this pure heart, and that's why the super soldier serum like worked on him and didn't make him even worse.
But is it worse if he wasn't with Peggy at the time? Like, he didn't even know who she was at the time.
He did. He met
like,
Peggy.
Was it like that, though?
Yeah, it was like that from like the moment they met. It was love at first sight.
Hey,
no, it wasn't. Peggy friend zoned him because she felt bad. She did. She friend zoned him, and there wasn't a physical attraction until he became Captain America and stuff. So you can't.
I mean, like when she opened up that. Well, she loved his heart. She did love his heart. She did friend zone him, but her reaction when she like opened up the tank after his transformation, she wanted some Captain America bone.
But so he also went back in Endgame, didn't he? He went back and gave her all the Captain America he could.
Well, we don't know what he gave her because the TVA doesn't tell us that part. But he went back and he decided to stay, and so we know she had a big part of that.
We also know he spent some time with Sharon.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe he had 2 vows. He could have went back before he hooked up with Peggy, got a second round with the USO girl, and then went and flew to go with Peggy and like, okay, I settled my roots. I'm ready to do this. So.
Well, the most important part here is Captain America.
Yes. I love that. That was reminiscent of Nick Fury and was it Endgame when he was being snapped away and he used the famous F word and they cut it, which we found out PG-13 movies you're allowed to have 2 F words and so they wasted it. They should have had Samuel L. Jackson actually say the complete word. So Disney,
the riots that they would get.
I have friends who I've talked to and they are a bit appalled that they were like dick move and that she flipped him the bird and stuff, and I'm like, no, we're at a point now where this content is separate. Like if you allow your kid to watch it, like I'm not gonna lie, my kid watched it with me because she's my kid, but like it is what it is. Like it's separate content. Disney is not for just children. Obviously, you have a bunch of us sitting here.
Well, and here's the other thing to that on top of what Sam says. Read the caption pieces in the front. It says strong language. That should give you indication as a parent if you have a problem with that maybe this is not what you want your kid to watch. Again, your choice. You get to control how strong, how much, or whatever. And all they can do is warn you. Violent, strong language. So
my child hears worse from her corrections officer daddy, so he's got a jail potty mouth on him. So predictions for episode 2. What do we think?
So, okay, wait. Was that nun you saw driving? Was she smoking a cigarette too? I don't know why I'm stuck on that. Like, I picture a nun just smoking a cigar driving and like, no. Okay. I don't know why that's stuck. I had to ask.
I'm sorry. I had to throw it out there. I got super caught off guard.
Hopefully she's a Marvel Tribe fan and she'll message us and give us a scoop.
All right. So what do we think is going to come, or what do we want to see come from episode 2 of She-Hulk?
we want to see Captain America. And the next sequel, like some resolution to what happened to old man Cap. That's what I meant to say. 4430. Okay, all right.
Nope, that's staying in.
All right, go ahead. You guys go ahead.
That's the Instagram reel right there.
That is going to be the title of this episode. We're gonna see Cap come.
The next episode.
Oh god.
I think that we are going to.
And She-Hulk too.
No, I think. Oh, stop it, David. I think that we are going to see another like super powered being that ends up in a courtroom with her. I think we're going to be introduced to another super powered being.
I think we're gonna I'm hoping we get a more explanation of what just happened in that courtroom.
With Titania.
Yes, and so I'm hoping that either the antagonist or something related, because if it was just a one-off scene, that would be a little weird for me. But yeah, I can't wait to see the interaction with Abomination. The guy who tried to murder his Bruce Banner, her cousin and stuff. And see how she gets kind of pushed into representing heroes and villains alike and stuff. So I'm really curious. I can't wait to see the courtroom dramas as they unfold, and then her hulking out every once in a while and stuff, so to get her points across. So,
Big L, what do you think?
I think in the traditional Disney Plus way, I think episode 2 is going to be weak. Especially like we only got 38 minutes. Out of those 38 minutes, 8 of it was credits, and I know I hate being the technical thinker, but I think this episode 2 is going to be strictly her explaining herself now, because I'm assuming this is the first time she's been publicly seen like this. Obviously, her homegirl knows. I don't think anybody else knows. So you're going to get the whole debacle of why are you even hiding this, and then her stepping into the attorney to protect the heroes and villains and so like that. And I think that's going to be it. And then we're going to end with a scene of her seeing another lawyer come in. So you're doing this now. And then cutting. But I think episode 2, if I'm going to predict something, this is probably going to be the weakest episode of the whole season.
Okay.
So I actually really like what you said, because it ties into what I hoped for coming into this, was that she steps into her green badassness and just like owns it, and just like, so what? This is who I am. What? Like, I don't have to hide on a beach in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I'm She-Hulk, like, and I'm an attorney. Oh, like, this is it. So I like that, Lewis. Sorry, Brianna. Go ahead.
No, I think Lewis covered basically what I was going to say. It's going to be an episode of her getting probably swarmed by media or of some sort, because she just publicly showed a different side of herself in a courtroom. And it will probably have some questions. I'm sure she'll be questioned on if she is safe or something in that form, because obviously they know of the Hulk. And so I'm sure there's going to be questions and her having to prove herself and things like that. So, and it's to be kind of that true start, because we kind of really did end where, I know David said he doesn't want it to be a one-off scene, but I feel like it very fully could be if they want it to be. Like,
I hope not. I think that's all we've got for this week, though. Anybody else have anything they want to add before we sign off?
Yeah, it was. It was an interesting episode. I absolutely liked it, and I want to see next week what. And I'm sad that Lewis had to be so technical, because he's pretty much right. It may be they have a history of kind of being. It's not as great as swinging out of the park the first episode, and then kind of it's like a roller coaster ride.
Okay, but David, you and I also have a history of swinging out of the park. In our predictions.
Absolutely. We go wild with our swings and stuff.
It's fine. It's all good. Lewis and Brianna can be the chill ones who are like, no, you guys are crazy, and then we're just like, no, it's gonna happen.
All right, so I'm gonna throw a swing. I was gonna wait for episode 4 before I throw this out there. I see a rematch of a match of She-Hulk versus the Abomination. And
Hell yes.
it's going to be in the cage, though. There's going to be that. It's just like in Shang-Chi, where he's fighting. Who does he fight? He's fighting Wong. Yeah, he's fighting Wong.
He's fighting Wong. Yeah.
So it's going to be a fight set up like that. It's going to be She-Hulk versus in the same setting. They're going to go to Madrigal and fight in the cage. So that's my swing for the fence right there.
That would be like she's
going to do her cousin some justice.
Your cup win there.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's all we have for this week. We will catch you next week for episode 2 of She-Hulk. See you later.
Bye.